Back in 2018, in May to be precise, I stood just above the lighthouse there and captured what still remains today as my favorite landscape picture of all time. Now, while I'm still in possession of my Nikon gear, I thought I'd use this opportunity to come down here tonight and try and better my best ever landscape picture. Behind me is South Stack Lighthouse, and it's a freezing Tuesday night. And when I say freezing, I mean freezing. It's -1 with a wind chill of -6, and it is bitingly cold. And worse still, I can't start taking pictures until after midnight, so I can only imagine just how cold it's going to be then. Anyway, enough of the flanneling. Hi guys, and welcome to this week's video. So let's take a look at the picture in question. This still remains to today my favorite landscape picture I have ever taken, only because of all the effort that was involved in capturing said image. It's a very difficult image to capture. I had to ensure that I used a fast enough shutter speed to freeze the beams of light during very, very dark conditions. The actual shutter speed used to capture this picture was 1.6 seconds, and that's a fast enough shutter speed to maintain or to highlight a single beam of light. That means I'm then in a position to place that beam of light where I wanted to place it. But for me to achieve that meant I had to use a lens that obviously went really wide open, so a very fast lens. It was 1.8, and also my ISO was up. And this setting is what makes this picture so special to me. My ISO had to be up at 8,000. Now, I want you to remember that my original picture was taken nearly 6 years ago, and the equipment that I was using then was a 5D Mark III. Not even a 5D Mark IV, and certainly not my current camera, which is a 5D SR. It's a 5D Mark III. And yet, after post-production, the image still came out absolutely incredibly well. But there's another reason why I love this picture, and that's because when I do camera club talks, I always talk about this picture. I take the picture with me. As you can see, it's a rather large picture, and people always look at it and think, yeah, Gary, very nice picture. Very nice picture indeed. But then when I tell them the tale of how I went about capturing the picture, especially when I mention the fact that the only way this image could have been captured was at ISO 8000, then the room changes. Everybody dons their reading glasses, and then everybody pixel peeps the picture, and I see it time and time again. And that's why I love the picture so much, because one minute people have much appreciation and admiration for the picture, but the minute you mention ISO 8000, everybody becomes a pixel peeper. And then when people get close, they can naturally see the noise in the image, and then they always say, oh yeah, I can see now, you know, that it was captured at ISO 8000. And I suppose their value of the picture drops, or the value of the picture to them drops, because they can now pixel peep and almost find fault with the image. Well, that's such a nonsense. We shouldn't do that. We should just enjoy the picture for what it is. So, bit of a mixed bag on this one, but either way, I absolutely love this picture, and I'm just wondering if I can come down here with clearly better gear, newer technology, just to see if I can better my best picture of all time. Do you know, it's been quite a few years since I was last here, and my biggest fear was that lamp had been swapped out for LED lighting. Lots of lighthouses throughout the UK nowadays, they've had their fantastic lamps changed to LED lighting that are, well, quite frankly, rubbish for photography. Might be better for safety for the boats out there, and it might be better in terms of cheaper to run, but at the end of the day, terrible for us photographers. But thankfully, the big beam of light is still there. So that's a box that's been ticked. Right, first things first, camera into starlight mode, because that'll help me see on the live view and through the viewfinder, although I won't be using the viewfinder. Not sure if you can see that there, but it's 25 to 12. Conditions are pretty perfect. If anybody knows where I'm currently standing, you'll know how precarious it is, and I've just got to be so careful. Quite literally 3 feet that way, 1 foot that way, sheer cliff to your death. I'm perfectly fine where I am now, but the most important thing is to make sure that I don't start walking around wearing my reading glasses. For anybody out there that wears reading glasses, you know for the fact you get very disorientated very quickly if you stand try and walk with your reading glasses on. So that's the most important part of this exercise right now. Okay, so let me talk to you about these conditions. They are pretty perfect. There's not a cloud in the sky. It's a crisp, cold night, and there's not much wind. Well, certainly not where I am down here anyway. The only slight negativity about tonight, there's not much wet atmosphere in the air, and it's the wet atmosphere that we need to show off the beam of light as it's spinning around. I'll take a couple of test shots and I'll throw my camera into portrait orientation. A third of the lighthouse, 2/3 of the sky. And the reason why I want 2/3 sky and a third of the lighthouse is because I want to show off these incredible stars. That's the reason why I'm here so late on. I think I can't moan too much. I need to have a look at these beams of light, because these beams of light clearly are really standoutish. So let me just take a couple of test shots just to have a look. Now, my original settings on my Canon 5D Mark III were f1.4. Now I've got f1.8. That's as wide open as I can go. It's a third of a stop, so it's not going to make that much of a difference. I can claw that back in post-production. ISO 8000 and 1.6 seconds. It takes roughly 10 seconds for the beam of light to pass over before the second beam of light comes. Because it's not the camera I normally use, I don't have a remote control, so I've got a choice now. Either set a 2-second timer and try and get my timing right, which shouldn't be too difficult really, or just risk pressing the button. But at the moment I'm at f1.8, ISO 8000 and 1.6 seconds. And if I have a look at that picture that I've just taken, then that looks pretty sweet. So I'm just going to zoom in just to make sure everything is crisp and in focus the best I could get it. Look at that. That's quite nice, and to be honest, I cannot complain about that beam of light. Head torch off, and let's crack on and see what I could capture. I'm excited. Let's go for the shot. Let's go for it. Come on. Portrait orientation. Here goes. Here goes. There, that's what I want, the beam of light. Let's try it again. Follow it round, follow it round, follow it round, and there. Oh, I didn't like that. That didn't look good at all. Let's try that again. Oh, it's so cold. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. Let's go again. A little bit higher. There. Love that. So remember, the idea of this video is for me to try and better my original picture. Now the only way I can think of bettering my original picture, I'll probably stick with the same composition, but I'll try and make that beam of light a bit tighter. And the only way I could do that is to quicken the shutter speed. Watch this 1 second. Let's get my timing right, about there. Ooh, that's nice. That is very nice. Nice, 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 nice. I'll take a couple more pictures, then I'm going to go a little bit further up and I'm going to take another picture and I'm going to change the style of how I take this picture. I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to take an exposure pretty similar to the one I'm taking down here, but I'm going to be above the beams of light, but I'm also going to combine it with a cleaner image of the stars. I'll do that in a few seconds from now as far as you're concerned. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Right, final shot. I'm going to stick with the same settings, but my composition at the moment is from above the beams of light, looking down on to the lighthouse. Let me see if I can just show you on here. I've placed the lighthouse to the bottom right hand side. I'm going to capture these beams coming across here. Now, maybe about there. Again, roughly 45-degree angle. So if you watch that beam, roughly there, about a 45-degree angle, I think that will work the best. And the idea of this is maybe I might go for a bit more sky. I certainly will do when I shoot this in a portrait orientation, but the idea of this now is I'm going to capture this at the same settings that I captured the image at from lower down, but this time, to ensure I get a cleaner image, I'm then going to lower that ISO right down. I'll verify all that in a second, and then capture a separate shot for the sky. Because if you notice now, the lighthouse and the beams fall pretty much under the horizon, so therefore I can now capture a cleaner image in the sky and combine them both. Okay, let's take a test shot and see what that looks like. Getting that beam of light across there. Hopefully I got my timing right. Spot on. Awesome. So I'm not going to do any more than that. Beam of light about there. That's really nice. Let's try it on the right hand side. No, I don't think it works there. Definitely works on the other side. Much better into the negative space across here. Right, so my final image, portrait orientation, but this time I'm lowering the camera down. I'm only shooting a third of the sky, 2/3 of the floor. And the reason why I'm opting to shoot 2/3 of the floor is because if you've been here before, you'll know that one of the attractions of this area is the incredible zigzag steps. There's over 400 of them going down towards the lighthouse, and they just make for a really nice bit of foreground interest. Watch as that beam of light comes across here and it lights up those steps. Isn't that just incredible? So we're using the steps as foreground interest onto that wall as a leading line, drawing the eye all the way out to the lighthouse. 2/3 floor, 1/3 sky. Exactly the same settings as down below, and I've opted for the same settings so that I can again create a beam of light, whether it's to the left or whether it's to the right, 45-degree angle. And then, just like a couple of minutes ago, I'm going to take a separate shot for the sky. Love that. 5-to-1, my work here is done. That concludes video number 1 proper of 2024. Many more still to come. Do me a favor, I'm stood on top of a cliff edge. I'm freezing cold, and like I said, It's nearly 1 o'clock in the morning. Do me a favor, as always, before you look at these pictures, help support the channel. Give that like button a bit of a nudge, and if you're new here and you want to find your way back, then consider subscribing as well. Cheers.